other thing I didn't understand is Florida State played Georgia in the Orange Bowl yesterday, and Georgia beat them, I think, 63-3 or something like that.
Yep.
Which anybody with half a brain could have seen that coming. Florida State had 29 guys out who chose not to play in the game, were going to the NFL or whatever, or transferred or whatever. So they
don't want to play in a meaningless exhibition game.
Exactly. So Florida State was basically down to, they basically had barely enough guys to suit up to play the game. They had 53 guys on scholarship for the game. That was it. So, they get blown out, whatever. Florida State doesn't have all of their good players. Of course, they got beat really badly. And it just leads to this argument where people go, and it just made me laugh. Like, after they announced the playoff and Florida State wasn't in, you know what? Florida State's going to go out and they're going to prove it against Georgia, blah, blah, blah. And I just thought it's one of those knee-jerk things that people do. Well, they're going to go, this is wrong, and they're going to go make it right, And I was laughing at the time because I'm like, it's a meaningless game. No one cares. And so, Florida State gets blown out. But that game literally means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. And so I don't understand people trying to make arguments. Well, it's like I'm watching people on Twitter. Well, where's Florida State complaining now? Where are all the people that said it was unfair before they lost to Georgia? And I'm like, okay. And as Reese Davis says this on ESPN, the result of the game doesn't prove or disprove your selection. Okay? Whatever the result is, I don't care if Florida State beat them by 60. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't prove anything. It doesn't mean anything. I feel bad for Florida State. I still feel like they got screwed. I think the committee did what the best that they could do in that situation, but I still think Florida State got screwed, and I understand the players being upset about it. So there's a couple things on bowl games in general. I read this. Danny Cannell was putting on Twitter yesterday. Bowl games are broken. We need to do something else. Blah blah blah. Well, number one, bowl games were not intended to be a TV product. Okay, bowl games were invented as a reward for the players and the coaches and the team and the school for a good season. That was the point of the games. Like, they did not intend, these games were not, oh, we're going to get a whole bunch of people to watch this on TV. That's what sports is now. That's not what it used to be. So for bowl games, by the way, I don't have any problem with them playing bowl games. Go ahead, but they're never going to get a good TV audience for them. Okay, because they're completely meaningless, and a lot of them are bad, especially with all the guys opting out now. In this situation in general, like, stop trying to draw conclusions from bowl games, people. Like, they literally, they're exhibition games. They're for the players. They're not for you. So when Danny Cannell complains, oh, what are we doing? Like, we shouldn't have to watch these, blah, 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 blah. It's like, you don't have to watch it. Turn it off. Like, if you don't like it, turn it off. That's not what it's for. It's not meant to be this amazing TV show. Now, I know sports, the whole point of sports now is that they all make money off TV. I get it. And we're going to have a 12-team playoff next year, and that's going to make some of this easier. But there's 41 bowl games. There's no possible way we can make 41 bowl games good television products, especially when you've got Jacksonville State and Marshall and UTSA in them. Like, it's never going to happen. So, that game, the Florida State-Georgia game, doesn't mean anything. Like, get out of here. And then there's the most ridiculous take was Colin Cowherd saying, Florida State, they showed a lack of leadership. The conference and the school, and they got all mad, and then the players followed their lead. Okay, first of all, I'm just going to say that's complete nonsense. The players are not listening to what everybody else is doing. The players are looking out for themselves, which is exactly what they should be doing. So this argument that Florida State was so mad that they decided, well, we're going to all opt out of the game because we're so upset about the selection committee. I mean, that's the most far-fetched, ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. Most of the guys they're transferring to other schools because they think there's a better opportunity. There's a whole bunch of guys they had going that are going to go to the NFL, so they're getting ready for that. Like, I really don't think the ACC and Florida State complaining and trying to get politicians involved to help their case or whatever caused the players to all go, you know what, we're not playing then, screw it. I'm sorry, I don't buy it. If you found a player who that's the reason he's not playing in the game because of that, then let me know. We'd love to talk to him. But I severely doubt that's the case.
Yeah. Okay. So in terms of the Colin Cowherd complaint, he's basically saying they shouldn't have been whining and complaining or whatever about not getting selected for the playoff. okay, yeah, did they talk about it? Sure. Did the ACC talk about it? Did FSU coaches and players talk about it? Sure. Of course they did. They talked about that they got screwed and it was unfair. Well, let me just tell you that the 14, I've supported the 14 playoff, but I can even admit it's unfair. The whole system's not, the 14 playoff was not meant to be fair. Okay. And that's going to cause people to complain when they get screwed over, which, as I've said before, I think is part of what makes the system great because it's emotional and it generates interest. But are people, do teams and coaches and players get pissed off about it if they get passed over for selection into the playoff when they feel like they have a right to go? I mean, yeah, I understand why they're doing it. They have a right to complain. So what? And by the way, complaining about not getting selected for a playoff or the BCS or not getting ranked high enough, pre-BCS, that was built into college football. That's part of what people do. And then you're saying that causes them to play poorly in a bowl game? Like, that's ridiculous. And it's not like it's not like they don't have a good argument. They do have a good argument. They're saying it was unfair. It is unfair. I just got through saying that. It is an unfair system. So people are going to complain when they get screwed over. I think that's totally fine. And as far as, another thing that I just wanted to point out, it's really funny coming from Colin Cowherd that he's saying this is childish behavior. Like really? Or this shows a lack of acting like an adult or being, he didn't use the word honorable, but I think you could kind of file that in there too. And it's like, you're the same guy who's been brushing off the fact that Michigan cheated and being like, oh, it's no big deal, whatever. Well, acting like an adult could also be interpreted as maybe when you do something wrong or you break the rules or you cheat, you could admit it and apologize or something. Or just be like, yeah, we did this, sorry. That could be interpreted as acting like an adult, but you don't have a problem with that. And as far as, saying that they're not acting like adults, so they're acting, they're displaying like childish behavior. No. You want to know what childish behavior? Childish behavior is not transferring, given the way that the schedule is set up, that if you want to transfer, you got to do it like right after the season's over. Okay. Or not playing in a meaningless exhibition game because you're going to get drafted, or just not playing in a meaningless game because you don't want to get hurt and hurt the rest of your college football or possibly pro football career. Okay. As far as acting childish, you know what acting childish is? What we were just talking about with Aaron Rodgers. Okay. Ja Morant. I just thought of this too. Yesterday, Jimmy Johnson finally got put into the Ring of Honor for the Dallas Cowboys. Couldn't you have done that, like, I don't know, 15 fucking years ago? I mean, that seems kind of childish to me. I mean, you put Darren Woodson in there too already. You put Troy Aikman, you put Michael Irvin, you put Emmitt Smith in there. Like, hello, like, how long does it take to put, I mean, the guy won 2 Super Bowls. So in terms of Colin saying, oh, this is childish behavior, I can give you plenty of examples of childish behavior, but FSU players sitting out that game is clearly not an example of that.
No. The way the ACC acted and the president of the school and the coach are all just, going crazy about it. I mean, I get it, but that's, I just think, accusing them, well, that's a lack of leadership. Of fighting for your players is a lack of leadership.
Exactly.
Like,
no, it's not.
No, I just don't.
The SEC advocates for its interests when teams in the SEC feel like they should get in. They'll go on TV and talk about it. I feel like my team should get in, and if we don't, then we disagree with this, and whatever. That's not being childish or complaining. That's advocating for. That's being an adult. You advocate for yourself and for your interests.
Yeah. So these bowl games are completely meaningless. The good thing is we're getting a 12-team playoff, so we're going to go to where we only watched 3 bowl games. Well, I don't know if you count the championship as a bowl game, but I guess I will for this. But we go from 3 bowl games, Clark, or three games that we're going to care about to 11 games that we're going to care about next season. So hopefully that'll be a lot of fun. But before we get out of here,